First of all, hello everyone. Thank you very much for being here and for giving me this chance. I know the topic is a bit out of context, so thank you very much for giving it a chance. Today with you, I would like to go a bit in deep on some practices that might be useful for you as a professional, as an energy expert, as a researcher. In particular on Twitter, but in general, to open a bit this box and this window of social media. My name is Chiara Canestrini and I work at the Florence School of Regulation, where I am the communication specialist. So I'm used to work and interact with the researchers in the energy sector and to help them, support them in disseminating their research. Why this man? Why a Greek philosopher, an ancient philosopher in the name and connected to Twitter? Maybe it's just a provocation, but maybe it's also the way I would like to start with this philosophical consideration, because we can take, I think we can take social media seriously and we can really explore them and try to find our way to always disseminate good content and use these tools to think forward and to especially interact with other peers, colleagues, and that's the best way maybe to learn and to really share knowledge. So it seems strange that I use him because Socrates, unlike you, he never published anything and he was really against the written word. But still, today is considered the founder of the Western philosophy, or one of the founders. So is still today considered, after 300,000 years, one of the most important thinkers we had. And we are still reasoning in his terms and using his approach. So it depends on what do we mean by publication. If we mean something like disseminating a knowledge item to the as wide as possible audience, then in this case, clearly Socrates succeed. While maybe us sometimes we fail in the sense that yes, we publish a book, we publish a paper, but how public are our publications? Yes, maybe they reach the other experts, specialists in the area, but maybe they could have a bigger impact on society or influence media and take the debate also online, on social media, where maybe fake news on the same topic you're working hard on are every day delivered in a very easy way, and with this noise they cover then the knowledge you might want to share. So, because why you're doing that? I think it's one of your first goals to really reach the others and to learning by interacting, which is something that in fact Socrates was saying already so many years ago. Because the reason why he was against writing, it was because he spotted some negative sides, and one of those was now to sum it up a lot, I'm really sorry and I'm apologizing with these philosophers, Socrates and Platonis, but to say it very fast, he was judging the writing for being very inflexible, because once you publish, once you write down something, it's done and the words are not going to change. Despite the words changes, the meaning changes, and everything has to evolve while the writing stays there. He was also thinking that this act of writing causes the loss of memory, in the sense of we stop practicing the act of remembering and we just remind because of a note. So it was also a bit detrimental for the brain, and we have no control on these words that we send in on a written document, in the sense that we are probably going to risk to lose the context of these words and this, in our case, imagine this paper. So what are the good sides that were missing and that I'm trying to make you see on social media? The importance and the role of feedback and context in knowledge in general, in knowledge sharing. So it's not a one-way act where you publish something and nothing is going to go back, but it's always this movement, which was called dialectic. It doesn't matter, but we always need, no matter which knowledge item, we always need a context to make it speak again, to make it change and evolve and respond to another audience. And we need this exchange. So Socrates was thinking that we can only learn all together, and learning and knowledge is a collaborative and dynamic process, ever-changing process. So that's why I was more in favor of a dialogue form, which has been then reported by students than on writing. But in fact, social media has maybe many bad sides, but one good side is that they really allows us to engage in conversation. So you can publish your paper, comment your paper, give your reason why it's relevant today, give some context to an audience that is maybe not the same audience in the academia, and so make it understandable again in another forms, and receive comments, and you are able to reply again, and you're able to follow the topic of your research over the time and day by day in real time, because this is what maybe we will see that on social media you can do. So if it's true, let's try to see what you can do. I'm just putting some points. There are my personal opinion, what I think you can do on social media. I would like them to know if you agree, disagree, or if you can spot some more options. Again, thinking about the audience I could have here. I think that, especially on Twitter, you can learn something new, but not only that, you can spot something new, but also keep track of what you already know. And so you can use Twitter as your newspaper in real time. Exactly, keep track of your research topic or topics you are interested in. You can publish and promote your work. In fact, also I would like to invite you to consider other forms of academic publish nowadays, because in fact I think it has a kind of legitimacy, another kind of legitimacy, if you publish a summary online with a link to a real paper, or if you explore other ways to disseminate the same content in other formats, which we will explore together today. You can build your network, because this can be interesting for you as well. Imagine, think about LinkedIn, but also Twitter is a very good way to interact and to address the right person you want to address. So maybe in this conference you would like to follow up with one speaker in particular, and if you find him on Twitter and you engage with him in a conversation there, it will be even easier to break the ice and to be recognized. And that's really a common practice today, probably you also do already, but it's really easy to spot new talents if you are a manager, or if you are a young student, to really manage to reach someone important if you have content to share, because that's another problem we will face during the presentation. Of course, all what I'm saying starts from the premises that you should have something to say, and to someone in particular, and why and how. Because if we forget this point, and which is often forgotten, then it doesn't make sense. Then you really have an empty box and some pictures online, some tags with no sense. And yeah, that's not what we want to do today. You can engage with the other experts that maybe are not joining today, but maybe are working on the same topic of you, and so you can reach them in India today without, maybe you never met them, but because of the publications you know that they're there and they're working on the same things. You can share and manage knowledge, because what we will try to show you today together is that you can, for instance, record a short podcast, a short video, or just take some proceedings from a conference and then either publish in real time or edit them. So add, for instance, a description for the podcast, add all the necessary information in order to make it a meaningful product to share maybe later in another context. So uploading this into the channels you have as an institution or as a person, as a professional. And so in this way, store also this material, archive it for future release, because some topics we discuss, maybe they can become timely again at another moment, and republish an interview you did. It can be really convenient. Again, yeah, have an impact on society. I hope, even as philosophers, we hope to have an impact on society. So imagine engineers and economists So we should really try to go out of this ivory tower or whatever it's called, and this tool is very easy to try to do that. It doesn't cost us anything. Of course, you can tell me it costs us time, but then I reply to you, yeah, so maybe tweet a bit less, because we don't need another tweet with a badly taken picture and just, we are here at the conference. Yes, we are here, we know. Maybe instead of these 10 tweets, we do one tweet, but just a good one, no? Reacting to a speaker that made a point, and we are all more happy. It will be retweeted, it will be considered, and so your time is now a bit, you save your time also, and our time as an audience. This is the icon and the end of the So now, hope you don't judge me. It can seem stupid, but I would like you to start with Twitter from an alien perspective. So instead of starting from your field, I would like you to find on Twitter as an exercise a Socrates. What do I mean? Just I'm proposing you this very quick research. You can choose one of the points, and either on Twitter or if you cannot on another social channel, I would like you to try using hashtag, maybe using some keywords. You find your way to find a philosopher in a wide sense on Twitter, a philosophical debate, again in a wide sense. So if you manage to bring energy on board, congrats. An interesting publication in contemporary philosophy or something like that. I give you 10 minutes, and I would like some volunteers after to report and tell us what they found and how. So now it's 14. We can stop before if you don't like it. I want to be flexible. I don't want to lose you already now. So
we have to work.
Yeah, I'm sorry. Yeah, it's the only way to stay awake after lunch. It's the hour is difficult.
No,
so.
I have it, but I forgot the password.
And if we find one, then what?
You found one?
Sure.
You can tell us already.
At Socrates quotes.
Socrates quotes is a Twitter account that.
Yeah.
Wait, let's see if there is internet here. I hope so.
And then I have been trying to create a new account. Unsuccessful.
I found a book tour for Plato.
Yes?
Yes.
So I guess you both typed Socrates instead of philosophy. What did you type?
Plato. You said
Plato.
any philosopher.
Yeah. So okay, we went back. But another challenge for any of you, a contemporary one, someone that is speaking really to us now, more difficult. So how do you find someone like that? And maybe it's not even classified under philosophy.
So I did LinkedIn, and I just typed in Socrates, and I got Socrates Capricios, who is the formal head of energy modeling and systems analysis,
Oh, that's interesting.
funded by the European Community.
Do I have to connect with mine to do this? Can't I just surf?
Are you connected to the network here at the university?
I could share from my phone? That would
Yeah.
be okay, yes, I am.
There's also a hashtag philosophy on Twitter.
Yeah, and did you find anything interesting under the hashtag? Like,
Well, there's a lot of philosophy now, Oxford philosophy, all sorts of philosophy T-shirts.
yeah. And so, like, what was missing? An event? No, a philosophical debate, so that you can really see a thread going on, someone replying to someone else on a specific topic. It can be even gender, it can be climate change.
Energy poverty.
Energy poverty can be tackled from a philosophical perspective. Do you think I can share my phone there, or I just have to connect? Yeah. Now I have to remember my password, which is usually already there. Let's see. Also, where is the at? Here? Of course not.
I'll go to see if there's
I want to the last one will make us see something that we can see here. Oh my God, yeah, I'm here, I'm live with you. You see?
Oh.
Who is that beautiful woman?
So, yeah, because the whole point is, you see, there is an hashtag. You can do the same. You can use us here in the room, but more important, you can start as of 3:30 to cover this conference with us, to interact with the other participants, but also with those who are not here with us. And you can continue to do that anytime you want, because the mission of the association is also to be online, fully online present, so it's a way to stay in touch also after this conference. This said, the last one that we can spot all together, not here but here, or you can tell me one of the...
There is a young Belgian philosopher who's always talking about nuclear energy pro and con.
Mm.
And then
How can I find-
he's challenging other scientists. Martin Boudry.
Martin?
Maarten, M-A-A.
M-A?
A-R-A. R-R-T-E-N. Space. Boudry.
D?
V-O-U.
V-O-U?
That one, yeah.
Okay, we have a look one together. So he's young, a philosopher, author. That brings me to a good point. So I don't know how much expert you are, how much active you are. You can always raise your hand and share your stories. But in case you are starting now, it's also important to fill your profile in a correct way. So once you decide what's your goal on Twitter, why you are there, you can edit your little bio. So under the profile picture, that also you can choose a nice one. No? Maybe we avoid a selfie in the toilet. We put a quite professional one. No, mine actually is not professional, but I mean it's not in the toilet and it's not a selfie. So you should also include this bio, which says something about you. Now it's very difficult to talk about ourselves, and it depends on what you want to sell about you in that context. So if it's work related, you should put something like your topics, your research topics, maybe in a form of hashtags. You should put your job title, maybe very advisable where you work at, if your affiliation, if your workplace is happy to have you as an ambassador, so you can put it here in a mention style, so with the @ so it's clickable. And I put, okay, let's go back to mine. That is not a good example because I only have it for work. So my goal on Twitter is just to be present, because if for work reason they look for me, I have to be there. And because I'm managing the accounts of my institution, so I'm a bit always a ghost behind the scenes. And because I'm so active in these other channels, I don't want to put much effort on my Twitter, because I'm more active on Facebook for other reasons there. So, but still it's clean. You see my name, and you see, where is my bio? I'm not on the profile here. You will see that I'm super sober, communication specialist at my 2 affiliations, passionate about these 3 things, because people that look for me for work, they don't need to know that I spend all the weekends doing arts, theater stuff. We can be very short. And views are my own, because I have to protect also I have to make sure that my reputation doesn't impact on the reputation of my school. So what you can do here is to consider views are my own, and also to consider, if you're more important than me, that retweets are not endorsements. Something like that as an institution is important, because it doesn't mean, because you retweet, it doesn't mean you're endorsing something. No, it's just to protect the people. So let's go back to the slides, maybe here, yeah, no, here. So we did this. And we just we entered the serious part. There's nothing serious here, but so in the first part, I would like to give you some basics, ideas, hints on social media strategy, where to start, focusing on Twitter. In the second part, we practice together a bit more seriously than now with the Socrates joke. So about the social media, as I said, there are so many. This workshop has as another approach. So I don't want to really enter the numbers, all the social media channels you have. I can only tell you, okay, here you see that in fact lots of people are online, are with the mobile phone, so it just gives you an idea, it's April 2019, that maybe it's time for all of us to be there. But how and how frequently to be there, it's up to all of us. So as you might know, IAEE has 4 social media channels. We don't have Snapchat, I don't think we need it for the moment, but this chart is from Retweet, which is a software for social media, so also Snapchat is there. The others are the IAEE channels, and you can see the number, they're quite impressive. So today it's really common, right?
May we ask questions?
Yes, at any time.
Well, there is one. Everybody is asking several times a day when we speak about using social media for an association, an organization, an institution, etc. Which one? Why Twitter and not Snapchat? Why LinkedIn and not Facebook? Why Instagram and not something else?
Okay, another premise I want to do. I don't share the approach of the social media guru that always know what to do, how you should do to increase everything. So I always say, like a bit like Socrates, I know that I don't know. But this said, there are some ways you can figure it out which channel is the most convenient for you. And this choice should be based on your strategy, what we are trying to explore now, on your social media strategy, on the audience you want to reach, on the scope you have. So I make an example, and here in fact you find some keywords about the different channels, so you already have an idea which channel maybe can be more interesting for you. But as I said, I make an example. You wanna sell shoes for a young audience. Shoes needs a very visual approach. Young people, for statistics, they are super active on Instagram and on Snapchat, more than Facebook now, because maybe they are all on Facebook, but because the moms came there, they are less active and less engaged than on Instagram. So you might want to invest marketing resources on Instagram to explore all these visual and branding options they have to interact and attract this audience to buy shoes. Now, I don't think you are selling shoes. I guess you might want to use social media to disseminate your work, to promote your work, to enter and be present in your network even more than now, to learn something new, to engage in a conversation. So I guess that Twitter is the one that can be more interesting for you at the moment. This said, all the others are also very efficient ways, and it's just because I had to select one due to the time that we are exploring this public forum, I call it, of Twitter, where as an expert or as an academic, as a media specialist, you can really find your way to go. Then of course LinkedIn is always there as your business card, and there are many ways to improve your LinkedIn profile and to make it more efficient, or to use groups for networking. But I don't know, I thought it was more interesting to explore Twitter for delivering good content, but Facebook is always there with high numbers of people. So of course, as an institution, it's also nice to engage in conversation there, because it can be posts can be longer, everything can be more friendly, more casual, and that's nice too. But remember that sometimes you have your Facebook profile for your family, for your friends, and they don't necessarily have to be combined, right? So maybe you can leave your Twitter account a bit more clean and more serious and more content focused, and play with Facebook with the rest of your life that I'm sure you have. And that's what I also do, and I think it. So there is a link here for comparison in details of the channel, but I will be happy to give you slides and resources, so I would prefer to skip now because it's gonna be heavy. What is less heavy is to just have some inputs for you to start to reason in terms of strategy when you post. And I decided for these 5 points, but again, you can stop me anytime and tell me that I'm missing the point. So I think that you should find your way to go, and I call it philosophy, call it as you like. I'm always, philosophy is always here, but your mission, your purpose for being online, otherwise it's really just, I don't know, you're doing because your boss tells you to do, and that's really not fun for any of us. So you find your purpose, it can be very limited, or it can be you want to change the world and solve all the issues of climate change. It's up to you. But I advise you to have reachable goals, so that really you can work seriously, you can structure your goals, you can measure your goals, you can then see if you are, I don't know, you are aiming at increasing your audience, you can check after 1 month if you did it. If you're aiming at increasing the number of views and downloads of your paper, then you go for it, and this is something you can track very well. So you want to find a new job, that's also something you can do. Also, another advice is to always remember that you're not talking there alone, otherwise we missed this point at the beginning of Socrates saying it's always a dialogue. So you have an audience, you can even select your audience and decide, just want to talk to my colleagues, to my peers, to the experts in my field. I don't want to talk to a mainstream audience, up to you. But then the more you are aware of this, the more you narrow the audience, the better for you in terms of communication, and because you can be more efficient, effective, instead of being a bit everything and so nothing. The positioning, this is something that I teach you when I worked in an advertising agency at the beginning, and it was very important. Also, you have this product, this brand to sell, and first of all you have to decide where you are with all the other competitors around, where you position yourself, and depending on where you position yourself, you will have a certain strategy to adopt, a certain atmosphere you want to give, a certain tone of voice, which of course can always change, because if you decide something in the 90s, then it's normal that the style of your brand, in this case you as a professional, will change, of course. But it will be also nice for you to think about this when you tweet, in the sense that if you decide to go for an ironic approach, to make it more lighter than when you work, so if you opt for a very web-friendly, ironic way to share your thoughts on Twitter, then I would expect to find always the same style, so that maybe I'm attracted by your style, and I always come back to read not just the news on the energy sector, but the way you report this news, because I know that you comment on a way that is ironic. I want to really hear your voice and not only the content. No? It happens to all of us. Last point is very important, because we always say that, no? You hear this everywhere, but we always fail. I'm the first one who fails. So one thing is that you plan carefully your post, and you promote and you send out, but there is another effort you have to put in listening, in taking back, in replying, in making it more discursive. So this kind of contribution to the audience, the community, cannot be just once a month and then you forget and you just publish your event promotion thing, because otherwise it doesn't work. There has to be a bit consistent, so that your audience know that you're there with them doing this, playing this game together. So now we focus on Twitter, and this is a quote from Twitter, so I don't remember where I found it. It's really on the Twitter features, that the first reason people come to Twitter is to discover something new and interesting. Let's try to remember this new or interesting. So that's the point, not to bring in something new, to add value and something that might interest in your audience. So what you can do with a tweet? We come back here always. I give you some points, or maybe I ask you before, because then there is an exercise. But okay, the first point I spoiled already. We can publish, for instance, I make an example. We can, difficult, huh? Okay, you publish your paper. Then you have your blog, or anyone else's blog where you ask, you know, I published this academic paper, would you like me to write something on your blog on the same topic, and then we add a link to my publication? They say, yes, of course. I mean, we are always missing authors, contributors in this blog. So you write this blog post, and then you publish this link to the blog post on Twitter, including your comment, you introduce your work. In this way, you also summarize it, maybe because you put 3 bullet points, or you contextualize your work and you say, because of this and this, today this, I have my say on. So this is something you can do on Twitter. Would any of you like to say something else you can easily or less easily do on Twitter before I go with my list?
You can start a discussion about something.
You can start a discussion about something, and because of how easy it is to reply and comment, Twitter forms this thread that easily allows you to follow for real the conversation. So you don't lose it, it's there, and it goes in real time. Very good point. That probably is. I add another one. So in this way of disseminating, you increase the visibility. Why? Of course, because you just reach another type of audience in another way. Another point, you can cover, like we will try to do here today, or promote an event which is of interest for you. And it can be a conference, but it can also be a book presentation, or your dissertation, or I don't know what is involving your work. So this you can do very easily. We will see some, we will explore some tools, but just to sum it up now, you can use visuals to attract audience. You can use hashtag to make sure everyone will contribute under the same event. You can create videos like for social media. You can invite people involved by mentioning them, and so on. You can network and engage with new audiences, and this, I think, the discussion to launch is also a very beautiful way of doing it. Instead of just saying, you know, I am X and I would like to share my work with you, and it's kind of spam. But no, if you instead interact with them under a discussion that makes sense, it has another value. And you can also maybe be a kind of influencer in the energy sector. Influencers are not only in the fashion world, so we will see in a moment that we also have lots of knowledge leaders here at the conference, active on Twitter. I spotted 2 new ones this morning at the first session, and they're very interesting to follow on Twitter as well. So, would you like again to try to see on Twitter, or just to tell me, and I can show here for everyone a good example for any of these points? So if you know an institution or a colleague that does this very well, we can have a look together, and it can be a best practice for everyone.
I've heard that Jean-Michel Glachant.
This guy right here.
Okay, let's go.
Smith, Marc Jacquard, with 2 C's.
Yeah, today yeah. Okay, so because then you are also there among the influencers, let's go to Jacquard, that is not on my slide.
It's Marc with a K and Jacquard.
Yeah,
with
I
2 C.
found him already, I'm following now. Jacquard. No, with K. Yes. Yeah, he's good. So, this is from, okay, because he wasn't tweeting here, not yet. So what he does, he is engaging in a conversation. You can see that this is something you can do easily. You copy the tweet as a link. You click on copy the tweet. You get this link to put in your tweet, and you can comment further, so that you can quote someone else, but add your view. And this increase all the conversation. Here, this is a sponsored. Again, let's see something else. Just a retweet. Yeah, he's really commenting on, so he's listening to the others, he's spotting something interesting, and he's commenting on top. It's half of the work, no, instead of producing like, let's see, he doesn't use any visual. Okay, no, no, this is an article. An article and reporting the source. Of course, it's more content focused, so it doesn't use any visual to attract more, because it's really, he knows what he wants to say. Maybe he's talking to a very specialistic audience. It makes sense. You don't need cats. I know, like it's another kind of audience. But in some cases, you might need to use cats or something, or a talking head, something like that. Okay, yeah. It's really good, but now to show as example for this is not really the best. We go back. I show you some. Why we're here? I'm sorry. Yes. So
Nicolo.
yeah. I mean, that's where I work, no? In the hills of Florence. He's a colleague of mine, Italian as well. So I mean, we're not doing the best thing on art, but we are quite proud of what we do. So I think we can use our school as an example. I mean, trying to be humble, but like I think it's a nice example. So my colleague explored this new way of dissemination. So he published, I don't remember, maybe it was a working paper on the same topic. Then from this working paper, he contributed to a blog series on our website, which is called the Topic of the Month. So every month we have a new topic. In this case, it was, I think, digitalization. Yes, it was. And then out of this, so to promote this blog series that was promoting in the end a working paper, he shot this nice little video. It's very short. I can show you to give an idea. Maybe I can. Yeah. So yeah, digitalization.
Currently, digitalization is a buzzword in the electricity sector. Almost everybody talks about it and wonders about its implication for the future of energy companies, grids, and consumers. To navigate through the uncertainties and be able to cope with the challenges posed by digitalization, we need an analytical framework. In this topic of the month, we will introduce 6 building blocks to identify the key issues at stake and get some insights into where we might go in the future. After a first wave 30 years ago, digitalization is finally invading the electricity sector. Together with decentralization and decarbonization, it represents a major trend and it can disrupt the whole industry. Follow this topic of the month and get your compass.
So what I love about this video, apart that I love my colleague, is great, is that, I mean, he's a real researcher doing his job, and he decided to, who knows what is coming next, he was open enough to try to explore this way of conveying his knowledge in a, you know, it's, okay, we are quite lucky, but this is just in front of our office. So I understand that you might not have a team helping you to get a video like that, but what you for sure have is a mobile phone, and usually I do video interviews with a mobile phone and a stick that allows you to better frame and keep. So that's something you can consider to do, and a working paper, a paper becomes a little teaser video. We go ahead another example. So the first example was to disseminate knowledge in an innovative way. These other examples are how to cover an event, how to engage with audiences. So here we have a post from IAEE during the Latin America conference. So short videos, interviews, directly posted on Twitter with no editing, just you cut the clip and you add the context where you are, the hashtag, who are you interviewing, if he's of course active on Twitter, you mention him, etc. Same example below, it was me during a forum, a global forum in Florence, so we had this chance to interview lots of people in 3 days, and so we wanted to publish in real time some insights to try to bring the forum in parallel online. So we welcomed 100 experts in Florence from all over the world, and we wanted to stay in touch with the rest of the world at the same time, because I mean, Florence is just a little village in the world, and these guys were coming from over the world. The third example is again my school. Is a survey to ask our audience which topic they will be more interested in. This kind of survey, and especially the Twitter poll feature, is something also I advise you to consider for increasing the engagement and interaction. So how can you ask questions to your audience? Of course, you can just ask the question in the post, but you can really create a poll. Twitter allows you to do that. Of course, you have to be short in the options, also the number of options, but it's you can easily do, and of course, you get the stats, the percentages, so you can share also the percentages, and it's a way to wake up your audience and say, oh, I wanted to hear from you, and maybe they're also happy to contribute. The animation is, so now, because I only gave you 2 free examples, would you like to do one more effort and try to find a good one in your field? So Socrates is just a metaphor. That, of course, even if Socrates can be a woman, because I made the mistake, I realized that I only put men on my presentation. So, okay, I am a woman, I think. But if you can spot a good woman or man professional in your field and give me a name, another one, or a name or a post he did that he did great for some reason, he or she.
How to send it to you?
You can send it by a private message on Twitter, since it's already open.
Message on Twitter,
Yeah. You can all do no, because if we don't follow each other, you cannot. But Michelle. Or you can also tweet for real if you're brave enough now. Otherwise, we do later. Tweet for real. Mention me and saying this is a good example of, and you put the link to the person. But yeah, we can. If we are still shy, we can wait a little bit. So, Jean-Michel, have you sent? No.
I did send you a private message.
No. Not yet. Yeah? I thought this was a previous one. I didn't see the notification. Yes, I agree. I know her. Okay, so yes. And I'm happy. So, number of followers, not bad, because I mean, it's still a niche, the sector. And, he retweet Jean-Michel, so.
I was not aware.
Let's go. Also, this is a retweet. But here is again, so bringing a source to your attention and commenting why. So I in fact forgot to mention one possibility, that is to, I said edit and manage knowledge, but let's be more precise, curate knowledge, collection of items. So you can be the one on Twitter, not really producing new content, like you don't need to produce a new podcast, in fact. No, the world is already full of interesting articles, podcasts, and so on. So you could be the one curating this content and always offering to your audience, spotting a news on The Economist, something on the Financial Times that you paid attention to, or even something on the TV or a movie that for some reason is connected, and always offer to your audience, maybe with a line that brings your view or your approach to the thing on your feed. And that's actually even better than those who produce new content just to produce. It's really elegant, it's professional, and it makes you recognize as a real opinion leader, because it's you can see it's really another touch when people are able to. It means you read, you're always interested in finding new resources. So, and you're not there only when you need to promote something you did. So it's really the most elegant way of being online, I think, but it's just an opinion. Let's go back. So thanks for making me think about that with Anne. Why the Wisconsin? I don't know. Okay. Anything else? Like any other Twitter handle that we want to explore together before I move from this slide? No, we're fine. Let me see the time. I'm not good at managing. It's fine. Okay. So I'm proposing a free man in the field. One is Jean-Michel. Now, not to make him feel too much important, we can open another one, no? Because you are already here, it seems like we are pleasing you, no? So
Michael Limbrecht is a good idea, or Jess.
Jess,
because
yeah,
he's a new one.
yeah. Also because he contributed to one of our live classes, so I think you know the guy, no, better than me. What happened? Oh man, doesn't matter. He's still here. So how many followers does he have? Now why is he in French? Okay. So these are the followers, the abonnés. Yeah. So it's a huge number. And let's have a look at his bio. You see there are the affiliation, and they sounds good, his affiliation, so they're there. And it's also nice the way he wrote it. There is the LinkedIn profile connected. And he's using this hashtag, for instance, energy Twitter, which now is trendy. You can use as well to make people find you in the sector in this moment. You see, so here is again. This is just retweeting. Let me see if we find something. Yeah, using well hashtag. Some jokes, which sometimes now we need to. Retweeting interesting things. So being present in the debate, being there for real and not just one-way thing. This guy that Jesse retweeted is using graphs, and these, your kind of graphs, which are always a bit difficult for me, but visualization of data are very important to disseminate and convey information in a very easy way to give overview. So another best practice for sure is to use infographics